I'm going to preview the 6 seed Baylor at 3 seed Duke women's basketball game, which will be played tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Obviously, you could get this game on ESPN Plus in case the game prior to this one on ESPN is taking too long, and I apologize for looking now because I cannot memorize all this stuff. I will put the outlook on Duke women's basketball in the description below, though it will be a more condensed version because I'm not going to include players that haven't played all year long or they haven't played in a long time due to injury, and I know they're definitely out for the year. So, just making a note there. The 3 seed Duke did win their last game against 14 seed College of Charleston, aka Charleston. They were favored by 33.5. They did not cover. They won 81-64. Now, Baylor was actually a 1.5 point underdog against 11 seed Nebraska, but they came back and won that game 67-62 in the fourth quarter. Obviously, this is a rematch from the first regular season game for both these squads and for all of Division I women's college basketball as a whole. It occurred in Paris, France, and we all know Baylor did win that game 58-52. I want to make some notes about that game that pertain to this one. You know, Jane Donovan for Duke started in that game. She's not going to play in this game. She's out for the season with an injury, and she hadn't played since December 18th, and she only played 11 games all year long. So that's clearly a red shirt there. I know later on, Emily Skinner did play for Duke, but she only played 3 games and they decided, we're redshirting you. I know Ariana Roberson did not play for Duke in that game, but she will in this one, and I think it was due to injury at the time, but but I'm not so sure. I know there's no Anna Wilkstrom for Duke that played in that game. I don't think it was due to injury, but still, she might play in this one. Now, obviously, y'all know the news about Baylor women's basketball player Markayla Johnson. She's out for the year and possibly next year due to torn ACL. And I'm saying possibly for all next year because you know the recovery process. And the soonest she'll come back is really December. Is it worth having her come back? So, just to make things clear about that. And obviously, at the time, Ella Brown and Inez Gorinova for Baylor were not healthy. They are healthy now. And I know Inez did not play a last game, but Ella Brown did. I also know Kayla Nelms did not play against Duke last time. She might this time. And Kiara Pemberton, she was questionable for the Nebraska game. We have to wait and see about the injury report from the NCAA later on today. So I just want to make a note about that. Now, both overall records for both these squads are actually the same one. They're 25-8 overall. Now, Duke finished first place in the ACC to get the ACC regular season title, and they also won the tournament title game. They're 16-2, and after that 3-6 start, they only lost 2 games since then. So a very impressive run, to say the least. Now, Baylor finished 13-5 in the Big 12. So, what are some players to keep an eye on for Duke? And I'm going to just say this up front. Duke is not like a deep team, so to speak. They only have 10 available players. And I'm not even including the bottom 2 because they only play 2 games all year long. It's not worth it. So, and they usually play 7 or 8 anyway. What are some players to keep an eye on for Duke? Obviously, the first one is Toby Fournier, number 35, 6'2" forward. That is a sophomore. 17.5 points per game. She will shoot threes though, 17 for 51, so you got to be aware of that. Now, this is where her Achilles heel is. 56.4% on free throws on 188 attempts. I know she's had good games at the free throw line, but still. It's something to note. 8.2 rebounds per game, 2.2 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 2.3 blocks per game, 2.3 fouls per game. There's Ashlyn Jackson, number 3. 6-foot guard as a senior. 11.3 points per game. 31.9% on threes on 216 attempts. 83.3% on free throws on 72 attempts. 3.5 rebounds per game. 4.5 assists per game. 2.3 turnovers per game. 1.4 steals per game. 1.4 fouls per game. There's Tyana Mayer, number 22, a 5'9" guard as a senior, 11.1 points per game, 34.9% on threes on 106 attempts, 88.1% on free throws on 67 attempts, 5.9 rebounds per game, 5.5 assists per game, 2.8 turnovers per game, 2.4 steals per game, 1.8 fouls per game. There's Delaney Thomas, number 12, a 6'3" forward as a junior, 10.9 points per game, 0 for 1 and 3, so don't expect her to shoot threes, if any. 72.5% on free throws on 102 attempts, 6.4 rebounds per game, 1.3 turnovers per game, 1.8 steals per game, and 2.6 fouls per game. Obviously, the next player is Riley Nelson, number 4, 6'2" guard as a sophomore. 9.5 points per game, 35% on threes on 120 attempts, 74.5% on free throws on 55 attempts, 3.3 rebounds per game, 2.6 assists per game, 2 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 1.8 fouls per game. There's Ariana Roberson, number 21, 6'4" center that is a freshman, in particular like a redshirt freshman because she redshirted last year. 8.2 points per game. She will shoot threes though, 15 for 45. So we'll have to wait and see about that. 60.7% on free throws on 61 attempts, 5.6 rebounds per game, 1.9 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 1.1 blocks per game, 2.1 fouls per game. There's Jordan Wood, number 13, 6'4" forward as a junior, 5.1 points per game. Though she had a great game last game when you go back and look, and I'll go over that number as soon as I go over the last player here. 39.7% on threes on 73 attempts, 21 for 28 on free throws, 3.1 rebounds per game, 1.1 turnovers per game, 1.3 blocks per game, 1.3 fouls per game. And literally the last player we're really going to mention, I don't even know if she's going to even play that many minutes, if any, is Anna Wickstrom, number 25, a 5'11" guard as a freshman, 1.4 points per game, 27.3% on threes, 2 for 5 on free throws, 0.7 turnovers per game, 0.7 fouls per game. Yeah, Jordan Wood had a excellent game to say the least against College of Charleston. She had 17 points in that game. So that was one of the reasons obviously Duke won that game. And she did that making every single shot from the field, 6 for 6 and 5 for 5 on threes in particular. I want to say this, whatever you did right last game and right what you did in the first meeting with Duke, you got to bring in this game. Whatever you did wrong in both of those games, you got to correct in this one. And in particular for Baylor, it's the three-point shooting defense. Nebraska hardly loses when they make threes. You were fortunate, and you got to the line a lot last game. That's one of the differences why you won the game, and honestly, rebounding advantage. But still, you got to be shooting the ball better from three in this game. I'm just going to just say that up front. You got to make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively, not just from first half, the second half, but throughout the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. And let's put it a really good game plan, play really well across the board in all quarters, not just from the start, or not just from the finish, or just start and finish, but do it throughout the game. So you got to come out with a sense of urgency. Do this for your seniors. And I know Duke wants to do that for their seniors too. Don't get me wrong. But do you really want to not go to the Sweet 16 again? That's the question. Especially for those that have not gone to the Sweet 16 before as underclassmen. Remember that. I mean, example like a Talia Scott, a Kayla Nelms, a Yuting Dong. I know there's obviously Ella Brown, but she was at SMU, but you get the point. You got to out-hustle the other team. And you know there's a saying out there, the toughest teams win in March. It holds true, whether it's close games or blowouts. You've got to be tough. And I know there might be some questionable calls throughout the game. But you got to be the more mentally tougher team and find ways to win. And also you want to keep your cool. Last thing you want is like a technical foul or a flagrant foul. And don't do any movement that gets like a flagrant one. Like that Nebraska player did in Jessica Petrie that later on cost her to foul out later in the game. If you recall that play, they called it a jump ball first, but that player for Nebraska pulled her down. And it was not a basketball thing, and she just pulled, and that changed the outcome of the game. I'm just saying that right now. You got to be good in late game situations, both offense and defense. And let's try to muck it up and make it ugly. Keep this game in the 50s or 60s. I'm just saying it increases your probability of winning if you keep it low scoring. And I know Duke could win low scoring games. I know they can. They proved it some this year and even last year. And I do think this Duke team is going to play with a lot of confidence, not just because they haven't hardly lost since that 3-6 start, but I do think even in that first meeting they played with a lot of confidence because remember, they were literally right there with South Carolina to going to the Final Four. I do expect them to be very fired up, and they surely want revenge, especially now that they are at home. So you got to find a way to take out the home crowd in this game as much as you can. Now, on defense, it's kind of like the same recipe in that first game. You got to make Toby Fournier inefficient as much as you can. Contain the shooters, contain the slashers. You got to get defensive rebounds in this game. Create some turnovers. Limit the second chance points. Don't want to let them live at the free throw line either, giving them so many attempts. I mean, it's just telling the truth. And obviously, you want to limit those fast break points as well. So, you totally get the point, what I'm saying here. And you got to limit the points off turnovers as well, as much as you can. Now, on offense, Sometimes the best offense comes from the defense. So get some points out of turnovers. Get some transition points. Play with pace. I mean, have good shot selection. You got to take care of the ball. I mean, that's just telling the truth. And get some offensive rebounds because that can be the difference in the game. It can be. Especially getting those second chance points. And you got to make free throws count. And I know later on we made more free throws, but let's try to get above 72% on free throws in this game, please. Get it closer to 100 as much as you can. I'm just saying. You got to get some points like a paint touch, whether it's like a get to the rim on a drive, to the basket, and maybe kick it out for three and straight up lay it up and in, or like a post touch, like a pick and roll, or straight up post up. But you get the point. And you got to have some, like your 3-point shooter step up. And hopefully whatever happened last game on 3-point shooting wise, it doesn't occur again. I hope. But if nothing else, you got to try to find a way to drive to the basket and try to get to the and score from there, or get to mid range, or get to the free throw line. Obviously, like having a Talia Scott will really step up, and I know she really struggled last game. I know, but let's put that last game behind you, Talia. Seriously. And obviously having a Darion Little-Page Bug step up and hope. And another thing across the board, you got to limit your foul trouble and get them in foul trouble, especially when they don't have a lot of depth in the first place in terms of quality. I'm just saying. And hopefully Bugs is more efficient in this game against Duke than last time. She had 10 points, but 3 for 12 from the field, though. But 4 for 6 on free throws. And one thing to note about Belle Fournier, if she gets in double figures in this game, Baylor doesn't hardly lose. The only time that they lost was against West Virginia, and even then she was very inefficient and did most of her damage at the free throw line. So you get the point there. Obviously, like having a combination of Kirsten Johnson, Kyle Abraham, and Kayla Gnomes need to step up both offense and defense in this game, because it does make a difference. And now with Markella Johnson out, you've got to have Ella Brow step up. And she did step up some last game. And honestly, a Yu Ting Dong needs to step up more now than ever with no more Kayla Johnson. And we'll see about Kiara Pemberton playing, but you get the point. The same thing goes for Inez Gore. If you got to have feel like your bench player step up. And let's embrace the role of the underdog. Remember, point spreads don't mean anything. You were underdogs last game against 11 seed Nebraska, remember. You were 1.5 point underdogs. And even that first game against Duke, you were even an underdog in that game. I believe you were like 5.5 or 6.5. I don't remember exactly. It doesn't show on the ESPN app anymore. But you get the point. And Duke is currently favoring this game by 12.5. Those things don't matter. What matters is what happens on that particular game. We have no pressure going into the game compared to Duke. Duke is the home team. They're the higher seed. Let's try to spoil their home court here. So let's go out, play hard. Seriously. And bring that defense you had from the start of the game and the fourth quarter and do it all game long. And hopefully bring that offense you had in the first and fourth quarter and bring that all game long here. I don't want to go terribly too long, but still, you get the point on the emphasis of this game. Winner of this game goes to the Sweet 16. They'll probably face LSU, the 2 seed, just being honest, unless Texas Tech were to upset the LSU and they're the 7th seed for that one. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like, subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 800 subscribers, course, ultimate goals, 1,000 more. Some more months, this course, like video, comment really helps YouTube backgrounds. Some more people see this, and if it does help as well. so more people can watch. And if you're watching and not subscribed, hit subscribe on the notification bell as well.